Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are here, La Liga draft wrap up. We are doing round seven today. I am your host, the commish. Round seven. We've got a special guest tonight. We're doing late night analysis. The kids are asleep. The fantasy GMs are out to play. We got Kevin Desmond here. Kevin, how are you doing? Good to see you.
Doing great. Babies are asleep. That's how it's supposed to be.
That's how it's supposed to be. We're gonna get out the party supplies and we're gonna be talking round seven of La Liga draft here. We're gonna start with some breaking news in the NFL front. Breaking news, not really breaking news. We're not really the breaking news type of platform, but we just got a little bit of news. We got Brock Purdy signing a 5-year contract with the 49ers over the a couple days ago. That's gonna pretty much solidify him as a starting quarterback on a good team for a while. Any first responses on that? Does that change the 49ers outlook for you? Does that look the quarterback play, or is that something that you kind of expected?
It was kind of expected, but I mean, he's always going to be the guy that's is he elite? I think he's going to take the Kirk Cousins mantle. Um,
Yeah.
Cousins is hiding somewhere in Atlanta right now. Um, and so now it's Purdy, the
Purdy's
Kirk Cousins QB of the year. Maybe
Kirk Cousins. You heard it here. You heard it here first, folks. Kevin Desmond calling it out. Brock Purdy is going to be the Kirk Cousins quarterback of the year. Now, Kirk put up some good fantasy stats for a number of years. Not so much last year, obviously, but we're talking different ages for these quarterbacks. Does that bode well for Brock to be the Kirk Cousins quarterback of the year?
I mean, it bodes well
Yeah.
for his pocketbook for sure.
Yeah.
Like he's
Yeah, that's a
he's
lot of
gonna be a
money.
wealthy man.
That's a lot of money. I'd repeat how much money that is. I can't even say how big of a number that is. Um, Getting back into some things with you, Kevin. You had a big trip this last weekend. We talked to Kenny Deals about it last episode. You were one of the main glue guys of that wedding. When you look back at the tape of last weekend's performance, what are some things that you feel like you did well? What are some things that you could improve upon in terms of, the day, the night, the dancing, the drinking? What do you have to say about that wedding?
Yeah, I mean, it was a fun wedding. You know, beautiful venue, great people, great time. Um, looking back now that I've reviewed the tape
Yeah.
and seen where I've faltered, I probably could have gotten drunk earlier in the night
Oh, yeah.
instead of later in the night.
Yeah.
But I was a little bit busy chasing around Mr. Ringbearer, Teddy Desmond.
Yeah, I did
He was running
hear I
around.
did hear that after he got kind of a quick yank from the coaching staff during he started strong in the first quarter, but he kind of started seeing ghosts out there in the middle of the game, and he got a quick hook from the coach, and they put in the substitutes. Is that how you saw it?
Yeah, they haven't changed the rules like MLB yet, where don't they have to do a certain amount of pitches now? Like
Three
he
batters
got
in the end
his
of an inning. Yeah.
he got his one out. He threw one ball, and we were like, get him out of there. Like
Yeah, yeah. Well,
he's gonna get shackled.
yeah. I mean, that's the thing, though, is he's young. He's still got talent, and he still has a lot to learn, but a lot of potential. Now, speaking of dem boys, Teddy and Ben, they take the trip to New York City with you. How about dem boys taking it to New York? What was that experience like, and did they enjoy themselves?
Um, I think they enjoyed themselves for the most part. It was nice having parents that could come with and take care of them along the way.
Absolutely.
Ben ate everything in sight. That's
Nope.
what he does.
As
He's
he
a hungry
should. As he
boy.
should.
And Teddy got to take the subway, and that was probably the highlight for him.
Yeah, the subway, great. Yeah, the ring bearer himself, Teddy. Well, I'm glad you had a great trip. Good job representing the East Division there. I heard from through the grapevine that you were one of the most valuable players there at the event. So It's nice to see out there, and we're gonna have a reaction from you from one of your players, and it might be related to some things we've talked about today. But we're gonna get
Maybe.
into round seven here. Round seven, we've got a couple of sponsored segments. And we've been hearing it from the fans. They love the content. They love seeing the special guests. They love hearing what we have to say, but there hasn't been enough heat. There hasn't been enough spice on the wrap up. And Kevin, I have a feeling you are ready to bring the spice tonight. Are
I'm
you
not
ready
here
to
to make
get down and
friends.
dirty and speak the truth and just lay it on the line tonight?
I've been negotiating with a 3-year-old for the past 4 days, so I'm ready to yell at someone. Yeah.
You're ready to yell. Let's go. You're ready to just tell someone that they made a bad pick. Well, with that, we're gonna go to our first sponsored segment. We're happy to bring this segment to you from Mr. Car Wash. Got a dirty car? Come to Mr. Car Wash, get that sparkling clean. We are doing Mr. Car Wash's washed player of the round. That is right. Round seven, filled with some older players. It's round seven. There's potential, and yet there's flaws in round seven. And we are saying, who do we predict? I'm going to make a prediction. Kevin's going to make a prediction. We're going to do predictions on the washed players or player of round seven. Let's pull up the screen. We're going to do a little bit more interaction today. We're gonna be able to see the round. And Kevin, you're the guest. I'm gonna let you start here. Round seven. Who are you picking as the Mr. Car Wash washed player of the round?
I mean, there's so many to choose from. Um, but I mean, I'll probably go with Alvin Kamara just because he's in his 30s now. He's a running back, not as much wear and tear from a between the tackle standpoint, but like, he's a ticking time bomb for when he's no longer going to be fantasy relevant with his rushing touchdowns and things
Yeah.
like that. Plus, like New Orleans is pretty bad. You could put that entire team on watch.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that, Kevin. Who, in terms of the skill set, the age, and the team, how much do you think the Saints organization, there's a lot of talk about their cap problems for years and years, their Derek Carr's retirement. How much does that team aspect play into that decision to call Alvin Kamara your on your washed list? Like he probably should get scheduled for the Mr. Car Wash in the next couple months.
Yeah, I mean, the team's a big aspect. I think if he was just like in a third down role and they had a good quarterback that was like good at checkdowns and stuff like that, that could do something for him. But where the team's at right now, I just don't like what I see.
Yeah.
Terrible pick.
You're gonna go terrible pick. Now, in terms of value, do you see that pick being better in a later round, or you just think that that's just kind of a do not touch player for you?
I mean, I didn't touch him.
You heard it here. Kevin did not touch him. Um, it's up to me, the commish. Kevin laid it out on the line. I'm gonna go out on the line too, and I'm gonna pick my Mr. Car Wash washed player of the round. I've got to go. Hate to say it, Dr. Tommy Laser's pick, Joe Mixon. I'm going Joe Mixon for my washed player of the round. We take a look at Joe Mixon. We're looking at someone who just finished amassing 1,800 rushes in his career. Now, some people argue that that's an important specific stat. Some people say that those stats are a little bit, wonky and that, we're kind of looking too much into the data. But I'd say over the last 2 years of production, his yards per carry has dropped quite a bit. He's only 28, but he's just got a lot of miles on him. Um, Texans, that's it's not as much of an issue for the Texans as the Saints in terms of the team. They're going to score. They're going to give him the rock, but just the amount of carries and the lack of production in the last couple of years, I don't see him producing this year very well, and certainly not after this year. What are your thoughts on Joe Mixon, Kevin?
Washed, completely washed.
Just the stamp washed. Get scheduled. He's, you know what? At this point, he should just get the year membership to Mr. Car Wash because he's going to be going through there on a regular basis. They might be getting the carries. He might be getting the carries, but he's not going to be producing the fantasy stats that we might have expected from 2, 3, 4 years ago with the Bengals. Um,
He's so washed, just give him a towel. That's
Give
all I
him
need
the
to know.
towel, throw in the towel maybe for these washed running backs. Now, I throw the shade and I'm ready to be, have it thrown right back at me. I select the 31-year-old George Kittle. We already talked about Brock Purdy, but I think he's got a couple more years in him, maybe a little bit of win now. I think he's going to be a productive member of that. But he's getting older. TJ Hawkinson coming back from that severe knee injury 2 years ago. Is he going to be there? And then you just look at Jalen Waddle. I mean, the Dolphins were just a mess last year. There's just a lot of options there. But like I said, round seven, when you're looking at a round seven, are you looking more high ceiling, low floor, or are you looking more for a consistent guy in that round?
Yeah, I think what I was looking for is some upside, but like you got to have at least some floor that's going to give me some production
Yeah.
this year. So
DJ
that's
Moore,
mainly
number
what
one. Your pick, DJ Moore with the Chicago Bears. He's going to be the number one option there. He finished the season well last year. Um, I think that's a pretty solid pick for round seven.
yeah, he's the Bears, which that limits his ceiling
Yeah.
most likely, but he's got a floor that isn't bad.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's gonna get his targets. He's definitely gonna get his targets. Especially
yeah,
with Ben Johnson going over there as coach. We're expecting a little bit more of a functional offense. Maybe they'll even be able to call a timeout at the end of the game if they need to. You never know. Um,
yeah.
we're gonna go right into our second segment. This one not so much round seven, but we're gonna keep it spicy. We're gonna put Kevin on the hot seat. We're gonna go the whole draft round one through seven. We're going to let you choose, Kevin. The next pick is going to be the number one regret of the draft, brought to us by Monday's Bar, that classic watering hole on State Street, Madison, Wisconsin. Monday's Bar boasting strong drinks, dartboards, supposedly two porches. I mean, that porch on the back, that place is disgusting. You could call that a porch. Um, but mostly it's the drinks, let's be honest. If you go to Mondays and you don't wake up with regret the next day, you did it wrong.
He didn't go.
Don't go, but if you are, make sure that you regret it. Monday's bar, regret of the draft. Kevin, we're gonna give it to you. Poop dollar, regret of the draft. Who are you going with? And give me a good solid reason.
I mean, I didn't know that Mondays had two porches, if that's what you need to know about Mondays.
I think it
Whether or not
stops
I've
at
been
the stiff
there,
drinks. I think it
allegedly.
stops at the stiff drinks.
Yeah.
Maybe you see two porches,
I've seen at least two porches,
but
but
they might not be two porches. You might just be seeing double after a double Diet Coke and rum there or something like that. I don't know.
yeah.
Regret of the draft, Kevin. You're on the clock.
Regret of the draft brought to you by Mondays, aka the Poop Dollar Award. I'm gonna go with any Dolphins player other than Achan. So
Okay.
I'm talking Tyreek Hill. I'm talking Jalen Waddle. Dolphins have peaked already in the Tua years. Tyreek Hill washed. Jalen Waddle sucks. Tua might be in the blue tent already. We'll never know.
He might still be in the blue 10. You know what? That he might get a sponsorship from the blue 10. We're not sure about that one yet.
Yeah, I hope he stays healthy. But also I think their offense is figured out. You know, they always peak early in the year and then people figure them out and people have been figuring them out earlier and earlier in the season. Or Tua gets hurt. So it's like one of those two always happens, or usually both.
Yeah. Now with those struggles, we saw some major struggles last year, and we saw a player like Johnny Smith actually produce because of those troubles. And so you're throwing out the hate, that regret pick anyone from the Dolphins. Do you think that those struggles might help someone lower down on the depth chart, something like a tight end or another wide receiver, or are you just
Yeah.
saying just stay away?
I mean, it certainly could, and that's why I put Achan not as part of that regret because it ended up just being a dink and dunk offense to
Yeah.
basically Johnny Smith and the running back. And so both of them made it out very well, particularly when you're getting some points for reception. So I think those are still decent picks. There's value there.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
like Tyreek Hill, he's old. He gets injured now. He's reliant on deep targets. Do they have someone that can throw it deep to him? Probably not. Maybe he's lost a step. We'll see.
Yeah. And they're expecting they've got to have the routes underneath routes that are dangerous in order to get Tyreek open, like he
He's
did
not
it
into that action anymore.
in the first years of him at the Dolphins, and certainly with him with the Chiefs, that was a different story. Now, we got to throw out who we're adding here, So Isaac moves
Yeah.
up in the third round to take Devon Chen. You give that a thumbs up. But we're looking at Tyreek Hill in the end of the sixth with Dr. Tommy Lasers, and then we're looking at Jalen Waddle taken by Kenny Deals in the seventh. So one more hate for round seven. Let's just throw that whole round seven in the garbage, basically.
Might as well. Every pick was bad, including mine.
You heard it here. Every pick was bad. I've still got my Monday's regret of the draft, and I'm gonna go with a little bit of an kind of a mid draft pick. And I'm not necessarily doing it because that they're washed and no skills, but I'm gonna have to say I think the regret of the draft is gonna be Chris Olave at 5'6" by Kenny Beals.
Interesting.
And we all know why the big question marks, the two main question marks are, is he going to be able to stay healthy? I mean, he's taken some hits to the head. He's had a lot of concussions. A lot of people are even saying if he has one more concussion, is he just straight up out of the league? So that's obviously a concern there. And then second concern is like who's even throwing the ball in New Orleans? I mean, they tried the Spencer Rattler experience. Um, they've got the other guy. I don't even what's his name, Show or
The
something.
other guy.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, you might as well just be playing like Madden 98, and you've got the Dynasty League, and it's just unnamed rookie throwing the ball. So if I'm gonna put some hate out there, I'm gonna put some hate out there towards the New Orleans Saints team as a whole. We already said Alvin Kamara was washed, and we talked about that Saints offense. Well, why not just keep it rolling? Let's just hate on all of them. So we've got the two teams that we're just going.
exactly.
Are we
Couldn't
letting
agree
the are we
more.
is the hate flowing through you yet, Kevin? Is that have you got enough hate out?
Maybe. We'll see. We'll
We'll
see.
see. All right. Well, let's try and switch it up for some love. Let's talk Kevin Desmond's draft picks and kind of overall strategy. Um, you go Josh Allen first round, and then you get some really young studs on the squad, and then kind of finishing up a couple of rounds with some steady kind of middle-aged guys that have shown production in the past. Were you trying to have more of a balanced roster? Is that something that you were looking for at the beginning of the draft, or is that something that just kind of you saw the value and you just kind of went with it?
It's really all about the value, as you know more than anyone.
Yeah.
Obviously erred on the side of Young wherever possible. Like the Chargers running back that I took,
Hmm.
I think that he has a really bright future ahead of him. When you look at his measurables and the fact that his only competition is Najee Harris, who like he's already washed.
I mean, you were you stepped up to the door, you knocked, and you said, "Let's open the door." Najee is washed. He's probably been washed for a while, and he's just kind
Yeah,
of hanging on by a thread, Joe Mixon style.
yeah, and then I mean, yeah, couple of the others, it's really been picking who I think is going to give me some production over the next like 3 years at
Yeah.
least is kind of the goalpost.
Yeah. Um, So you mentioned Hampton. I was talking to Kenny Deals with our last wrap up, and he kind of talked about his doubts about Justin Herbert was that he saw Harbaugh as kind of a tough, rough and tough running mindset for that team. Do you think that that's going to help Hampton this year, and do you think he's going to get those touches and be able to produce, especially in the red zone?
I do think so. I think Harbaugh probably will stubbornly play Harris a little bit too much at the start, but
Yeah.
I think talent wins out in this league, just like in this dynasty league. Talent as a GM is going to win out over the long run. And yeah, he's going to be getting all the touches in the red zone by the end of the end of the year. And I mean, I can certainly say um, maybe the hate is out of me because I'm going to say something good. Yeah, Kenny Deal's pick, um, his pick in the second round of Genty that
Yeah.
definitely that gave me some regret for my pick immediately. Given he
Mm-hmm.
traded up for that, I think that was a pretty solid pick. That definitely inspired my pick as well. I think I may have gotten a little bit more value. I didn't have to trade up. I think he
Hmm.
might get similar production.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I thought that
Yeah.
was a good pick too.
Yeah, it's I've seen some analyzers out there saying that they see Puka as some people see him as a top three wide receiver in the league fantasy wise. It's really going to be hard for anyone to knock you on that draft pick. Puka, he's a great guy. As long as he stays in the NFL and he doesn't try and go into the NBA or anything, and when he hits 30, as he's stated. I think, I'm not really sure he's an MJ type of guy, so I think he'll stick it out with the NFL. But in terms of that draft pick and then getting the value with Hampton, I think, it's going to be hard to deny that in terms of value. I've got to ask one last thing. Going to ask the tough questions. Now you pick in round 8. We're talking round 7. You go up there and pick George Pickens. Now we're talking about locker room here. We're not talking about skill set. We're talking about locker room. Do you think Pickens paired with Dak, paired with CD, do you think that lets him mature a little bit, have the right attitude for your locker room?
Definitely not. There's no one that goes to the Cowboys and matures as a person, um, or in any way. They only go there to self-destruct, um, amid Jerry's world. So,
So
but he was born in the darkness. He's basically Bane out there. He tried to eat a guy last year at one point, and you got to have someone like that on your
so
roster. You
you
can't
you
can't
want
have too many.
you
Yeah.
want the chaos. You want that chaos. You want him to bloom as that bad boy, dem boys. We
Oh
dem
yeah.
boys. Is he one of dem boys?
Oh, he might be a vampire. He's that much. And you got to have one wild card on your team. He's definitely the wild card. He
Mhm.
has CD Lamb calling them, not even 1A and 1B. They're just 1 and 1. So I mean, like,
One and
look at
one.
that value. I got him in the eighth round. Someone took CD, who's the same. They're both number one. for Dallas in the
I
first
mean,
round. I mean, like,
I'm not an expert in math, but I think one equals one.
I mean, yeah, you could if we were to go on the trading block and he offered CD, I'd be like, you got to give me something else. That's
Yeah,
just equal value
that's just one and one.
plus less
Well,
dog.
like I said, you cannot deny the talent of George Pickens. And as one man once said wisely, talent wins out in the NFL. Talent wins out in your locker room, Kevin. And I expect to see that talent out on the field and you doing big things this year. So I really like what you're doing with the draft so far. I've got one more thing for you, wedding related. We always talk about these reactions. We got reaction videos, we got reaction pictures. Now, what I want you to react to is you were just at Ken's wedding. Some might say that you were the MVP of the wedding. Some might say that. Some might say
Sources.
that. Sources might say that. What we've got here,
We got a TikTok.
Josh Allen. Are you seeing this picture yet?
I see it.
We've got Josh Allen in Cabo at Kyle Allen's wedding. He's got that tan suit on. Oh, we also have the tan suit, no tie. How are you grading that? Knowing that it's Cabo, knowing that there's a dress code for Cabo, what do you think about the tan suit at the wedding with no tie? What grade are you giving that?
I mean that's exactly what I was going to say. That if that was a New York City event, if that was Kenny Deals, that would be a 2 out of 10. Like, get out of here.
Yeah.
He's not allowed in.
Hmm.
It for a Cabo wedding, that's a solid 9 out of 10.
Nine out of 10. 9 out of 10. Um, in terms of wearing that suit, do you think that shows more of his conservative, lack of, no interceptions, high completion percentage, or do you expect a little bit more swag on the field, rushing TDs, making things happen, or is he the complete package?
I think it shows his versatility that, you know, I'm sure there's been weddings that he wears a tie or a different suit.
Hmm.
I can't say that I've looked at TikTok recently and seen his outfits at different weddings, but he knows you know he's matured a little bit. He'll take what the defense gives him sometimes now, but he's also not afraid to sling it, and that's why I drafted him.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to rip the tie off and just sling it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I think he's going to be a great addition to the squad. I think he's a great guy to the foundation to build a team around. I mean, there's a reason why he is quarterback number one. Kevin, overall, how are you feeling about the draft? How are you feeling about the league?
hate the draft, hate the league. I guess the hate's back, but I love it.
Washed. You're a love hater. You love to hate. Is that it?
That's right.
All right. Well, we might need, if there's any animosity between some of these GMs about washed players, regrets, things like that, we might just need to all get together on the wrap up and just talk it through.
Yeah, everyone, do your worst.
All right, Kevin. It's been fantastic talking with you. I love you. I love the spice you bring to the wrap up, and you are welcome back at any time. With that, round 8 is almost in the books. We'll be looking at round 8 wrap up in a little bit. But until then, have a great night and don't forget to kiss the commish.
Love you, buddy.
Peace out.